you've been a serial entrepreneur. When was the last time you were the bottleneck in your business?
Genuinely, I was thinking about this before the interview this morning. I can only really think of one example,
Hmm.
and it was a long time ago. It was probably 25 years ago. And Merrick, the mentoring company that I built up, was maybe 5 years old, and we'd already got an office in Australia and in America, and because the first 4 or 5 years it was a bit hand to mouth, and we were growing and building the business all organically. I insisted on signing every check and authorizing every payment and all the rest of it. But because I was traveling so much, I ended up being a bottleneck because I was in America the day I needed to sign payroll or whatever. And Jane Hunt, my deputy, said to me one day, you're the bottleneck in this organization, and you need to delegate to someone, presumably me, to be able to make payments and sign the checks. And I was like, oh my God, giving up control of the bank account.
Yeah. Ooh.
And anyway, she said, well, I've got a 6-month transition plan, and we'll do it very gently, and you can do it and I can shadow you, and then over time you can build up confidence. And now I trusted this woman 100%. Anyway, at the end of a week, I was like, oh my God, she's doing this much better than I was doing before. So I handed over the whole reins to her, and the bottleneck disappeared. I was inspired probably, 15, 20 years ago. I don't remember when, and I'm sure you've
Yeah.
probably heard this quote yourself, by a quote from Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple. And the line was, we don't hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people who can tell us what to do.
Yeah.
And that really inspired me, that line. And so ever since then, and ever since that episode with Jane, I've actually hired really smart people and empowered them. And I've tried to get out the way. And so I genuinely think, maybe my team would turn around and say, oh, David, you're delusional. But I really think I'm not the bottleneck. And I really make sure I get out the way and hire good people and let them get on and do the job and tell me what we need to do.
Yeah, it's one of the most common bottlenecks when everything is tied around you. Uh, but if Jen had not told you anything, what would have happened?
It probably would have blown up, and someone would have resigned because they hadn't got paid on time, or I don't know. And I would have thought, oh gosh, that was my fault, and I probably would have dealt with it, in a different way. But
Mm.
thank goodness, because I'd hired a really good person like Jane, who was amazing. She came, because I've always had two mantras in my business, every business I've ever had. One is join the dots. And so, don't come and talk to me about something that involves someone else without involving them in it. So make
Mm.
sure, that you join the dots between sales and marketing or product or whatever. And so I make sure that people join the dots. So I might need to sign off on something, but I make sure that everyone who's involved, all the stakeholders, are involved in that conversation and decision.
Yeah.
But my other mantra is the duty to dissent. And,
Okay.
we all know that in an organization, the boss has the final word, and, everyone's scared of the boss and all the rest of it. And I've tried to dissipate that by saying, Laurent, if you've got something on your mind that you think we're doing wrong or I'm doing wrong, you have a duty to dissent. And I have to make it safe for you or anybody else in the company to say, David, I think we're making a mistake here. We should be turning left, not right, for these reasons. And I think that duty to dissent part of our culture, and hiring people and letting them, empowering them to get on with it, is actually one of the secrets of our business and our own culture.
Mm.
We have a bunch of very smart, very clever people, most of them quite opinionated as well. But the one thing they all have in common is they want the company to do well, that everybody's signed up to the mission and the vision and the purpose and the values of the company. And so we've created a safe space for people to say, I don't agree for these reasons, and a better solution would be this for these reasons. So you've got to say all of that stuff, not just, I don't like that idea. And I think we do come to the right conclusions faster and better